Hey loves, it's me, Kira Snow, and today I am so excited because we are bringing in a new season of Drag Race, All Stars 9. Woo! Time to get sickening. Okay, so today I'm going to be going over episode 1 of All Stars 9, and so if you're interested in that, then keep watching. Today I'm going to be going over episode 1 of All Stars 9. As you guys know, with my reviews, I go over the highs and lows of all the challenges and the looks. I also did want to talk about the fact that this season the queens none of them go home, and they're all competing to win the money for a charity of their choosing. And at first I was like, wow, this is kind of lame because I don't know if they're going to be as motivated to win the money. But after hearing the queens, like how they chose the charity that was really like near and dear to them, I was like, okay, now I think that these queens are really like still going to fight for this and be motivated. So I actually think that having them compete for a charity is a really great idea, especially with the way the world is right now, and like there's a lot of people who still don't accept LGBTQ or view it as a threat or try to even outlaw it. I think that having them do it for charity sends like a really positive message for the whole community. So I thought that was really smart that this season was geared for that. And I'm actually like kind of proud of RuPaul for doing that. I think that's like a really great thing to do. So I'm cool with it. I know some people don't like that it's for charity, and I thought it was a little weird at first, but I think after kind of hearing like which charities they chose, I'm more into it. So to start off with the entrance looks, some of my favorites, I'm going to go through my favorites and then also my least favorites. So some of my favorites were definitely Plastique and Vanjie. It's really weird because a lot of people didn't like Vanjie's look, but me personally, I really loved Vanjie's look because there was just a lot of color and I feel like it was actually tastefully done. The only downside was that the bobby pins were like falling off, but I really enjoyed like her boots and the mini skirt. I just think she looked like really sickening. And then Plastique's, I think like it could have used a little bit more pizzazz, but nonetheless, like I really liked like the crystals. She looked absolutely perfect, and I really loved Plastique's entrance line. Maybe I'll insert it here because I don't. She's in something about Vietnam, and it just reminded me of like the Miss Universe like announcing herself, and I was like, period, work, you could be a Miss Universe, Miss Plastique, because you were just that girl. But anyways, I also really liked Roxy's entrance look because it seemed like a callback to her previous season where she looked similar. The all black, it wasn't like that impressive or sickening, but I do like that it's a callback to the first look. And I believe her entrance line was like, you can't read the doll, and that's iconic. I think that I'm gonna probably buy a shirt with that on it because it's just such a funny like line. Okay, and then I guess one of the highs was also Gottmik. She had a really cool wig, but her entrance line wasn't that good. Like, consider the system crashed. Yeah, like I could see how it could work, but it seemed like, I don't know, it just lacked pizzazz to me. And then in the bottoms for the entrance looks were Angeria and Georges. Arguably, I think Georges' previous entrance look was better than her current one because it didn't seem like her body was bodying. It seemed like flat and like a little lazy. Like it wasn't really wowing me. I liked her wig, but not so much like her actual dress. And then Angeria, also it seemed like the pants were too big. It was ill-fitted. And yeah, I just wasn't a fan of Angeria's look. In summary, I liked probably Plastique's entrance look the most. But now let's get into the reading challenge. So I scored the queens based off of how funny I found each of their reads. And the people who scored the highest were Roxy, Gottmik, and Chanel, who got a perfect 5. So for me, all those were pretty much tied. Like, those three had like the biggest banger reads in my opinion. But I'm gonna also read off some of my favorite reads that we heard. So number one of my favorite reads from Angeria was Gottmik. When it comes to having talent, you ain't got much. She had really good delivery on that one, but her other read wasn't as strong, so that's why she wasn't really in the top. And then one of Gottmik's really good reads was, Vanjie, your liver is so black and shriveled, it is 15 face tapes away from being the host of RuPaul's Drag Race. That was super clever, and I think in this season we're really gonna enjoy Gottmik's wit, because it's not just like funny, it's also like clever funny. Like, she's very quick with it, and so I think that's like Gottmik's kind of secret hidden talent. And Chanel's reads were pretty solid. Once again, her delivery was great. Angeria, I do remember actually a couple of years ago I took a pill to get rid of my Angeria. That was pretty funny, I thought. And then she also clocked Gottmik saying like, oh, I expected you to cancel like and not come. And I don't know, I didn't know Gottmik was known for canceling, but that's kind of interesting. And then I think Vanjie is just like, her whole energy is like very comical and funny. But one of the reads I liked from her was, Georges, I didn't know you was gonna be here. Wait, no, I didn't know you were gonna be here. They said it was All Stars. That's a funny one. And then she said, Nina West, oh boy, what do I say about you? And then she said, Chanel. So she kind of flopped on her read, but she was like, hey, you guys can just like cut and put Ru laughing into my segment, right? Like, I think the fact that she's very like real and aware of what's going on, and the fact that she's in a TV show is like really fun and refreshing. So even RuPaul laughed at that. So even though Vanjie's wasn't a proper read, like, she was still like the funniest, one of the funniest, I think. And then Roxy's reads were, Gottmik, I'm so proud of your transition from fan favorite to Violet Chachki's assistant, which is hilarious. And then another one of her reads was, Nina is a former Miss Continental, but with a face like that, you have to be nice. And then her last read was, Vanjie, I didn't really know you were going to be here today, but judging by your outfit, neither did you. So all of Roxy's were really great, and I think that's why she won the reading challenge, deservedly so. She had the most reads, the cleanest, and the best ones. So the first challenge we start off with is kind of like a performance challenge, like dancing and lyrics, and it's to Drag Queens Save the World. So in the episode we see Chanel is really struggling. It was really hilarious that she fell off the stage. I was like, that's just hilarious. And then we see they kind of elect either Georges or Vanjie to be the choreographer, and it ends up being Georges. And it's kind of funny because she immediately comes up with some really fierce dance moves, but it's interesting that she doesn't have any formal training with dancing, so she doesn't even know how to do like the counts, the 5, 6, 7, 8. She said in her confessional, she says, girl, I don't be counting when I dance, it's just natural, which makes a lot of sense. So it kind of is interesting to see that she has the raw talent, but it kind of hasn't been like refined in the professional way. But nonetheless, when we see the actual like output of the actual challenge, it ends up being really good. So I think Vanjie kind of helped her a little bit to do the counting off. So in the actual performance, I think the people who were best were Plastique and Vanjie. And Georges was pretty good as well. She was solid. But I noticed like sometimes she was kind of like offbeat. She was almost dancing too fast, which is what can happen when you don't actually count the steps. But Georges was a solid, like, you know, it's just I thought Plastique and Vanjie stood out more solely because Plastique was literally carried out and her look was absolutely like stunning. Like she looked stunning, like a proper, like if you watch that performance and the only thing you took away from that, like what I took away from that performance was like Plastique being gorgeous and Vanjie's ass. Like that was what stood out from the whole performance, at least for me. And Vanjie's energy was really good, as well as her lyrics. I really loved Plastique's lyrics. I think Nina had some really solid lyrics, but as well as Angeria. But the thing that held Nina and Angeria back, I believe, was they had bad outfits. But I mean, their lyrics were good. They just had bad outfits. And then people, or at least really everyone did pretty good in the challenge, but the person who I think did the worst was probably Chanel. I kind of even barely forgot that she was in that performance, so that's kind of a bad sign. But yeah, I felt overall the choreography was really fierce, so props to, you know, Georges for that, and all the queens for remembering all the steps. We saw in the episode, I think Roxy and Chanel like were practicing the actual steps like in the workroom like before the performance. So I thought that was really cute that they were like, anyone want to practice? And then some of the other girls were like, girl, if you don't know it by now, you're not going to know it. But I believe in practicing before performance. And it's like practice, practice, practice makes perfect. So I thought that was kind of cute and relatable that they needed to practice beforehand. So the challenge for the runway is signature look, signature fragrance. And some of the tops I thought, or people who stood out to me, were Fantastique by Plastique, and then Southern Belle by Angie. I really liked Angeria's like look. It was really beautiful and unique. She can really put together an outfit. I kind of hesitate with her fragrance because it's like expected. There was nothing like her whole southern thing about collard greens and all that. Like we know that from before, from her season 1. So it's like, yes, you're southern, but like, and what? Like what makes you special? You're just like a southern queen. There's millions of, like not millions, but like hundreds of southern queens. What sets you apart that makes you the best southern queen? Like that's what we want to know. Like what makes you unique? That's what I'm waiting to see from Angie. And then one thing I really liked, I actually really liked Georges's scent, Little Chiquita. I thought it was funny that she said VCR cleaner. Like she's really injecting personality in there. So whereas Angeria was like this staple, like southern, like in a box personality, Georges is, you know, she's saying she likes weed, she likes poppers, she's VCR cleaner, like she's one of your home girls, but very stunning. Like she's injecting bits of her that make her unique. So even though Georges's, I liked her runway look, it wasn't as like polished and clean and immaculate as Angeria's, no, but she made up for it with personality, and also her look was beautiful. Like I liked the cover up and then the tearaway, and to reveal to like a really cute outfit. So I really thought this was a good showing for Georges. And then another highlight was Roxy's Never Sent Home. Also, her look was absolutely gorgeous. The blue she looked absolutely stunning in. There's no question about that. So I really loved Roxy's look, and her Never Sent Home, like, it it was fabulously hilarious. There was no really people who did bad in the runway. Chanel's was, she had a very pretty bottle. I think Nina West was, if I had to choose a bottom for the runway, it would probably be Nina West, just because the construction of her outfit made her look even bigger and boxier, but maybe that was her intention. It just didn't, it come across just more of like very camp, and there's no beauty in it, so that's kind of what made me dislike it. I kind of seemed a little like Michael's crafty, that's how I would put it, but it really wasn't like horrible. It was just, in comparison to the others, not as strong. And then we see the top two for the week are Angeria and Georges. That is accurate. I would say I could see that for the top two. The only other person I could see sneaking into the top would maybe be either Roxy or Plastique, but Angeria did really well, so I think she's rightfully there. And then we see the lip sync for the win this week, and it's interesting that RuPaul chose Angeria. I mean, they both did very well in the lip sync, but I personally think Georges did better in the lip sync. I think Georges should have won, but I'm kind of glad she didn't, because there's so much pressure to be the first person that gets the ruby red scissors to cut someone off. And I'm glad that Georges wasn't the first to have to do that, because being the first one is a lot of pressure, and it can impact your chances for the rest of the season. So I'm kind of glad she didn't get picked. But I do think, objectively speaking, Georges did better in the lip sync. I enjoyed watching Georges more in that specific lip sync. And then we see Angeria ends up blocking Roxy, which is a smart choice. She's one of the strongest competitors. So I think that was a safe decision on Angeria's part. Everyone knows Roxy's big competition. So you can always argue that. We see the aim of the game this season is to collect benefactress badges, which actually look pretty cute. I'm like excited about that. I think it's fun swag. It's going to be really interesting to see who wins this season. We just saw that Nymphia Wind won the last season 16. So that's only what makes me reluctant to think that they would choose another Asian queen, being Plastique. But if it wasn't for Nymphia Wind having won, I would definitely think that Plastique would be up for winning this season. But, you know, because of that, I'm not so sure that they would choose her. So as far as the top four, what I'm saying is probably Plastique, Georges, Vanjie, and Roxy. Maybe I got Mick. But as far as who I could see actually taking the crown, I feel like the strongest are Plastique and Roxy. Got Mick as well. So it's really hard for me to decide at this point, as you can kind of clearly see. But anyhow, thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can follow me on TikTok or Instagram, and please subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me. I'm going to be keeping doing these reviews every episode, so please subscribe and continue watching and liking my videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye! Also comment down below who you think is gonna win this season of All Stars. Bye!